There are moments in the world of K-pop when an ordinary announcement suddenly becomes something much bigger. A name appears, fans begin talking, social media starts moving at incredible speed, and within hours, the entire conversation changes. This time, that name is Jimin. The BTS star has once again become the center of enormous attention, with fans discussing what they describe as an extraordinary form of recognition from HYBE. The story has sparked excitement, speculation, and countless emotional reactions from fans who believe Jimin's influence and achievements deserve to be celebrated on an equally spectacular scale. But behind all the excitement is a bigger question. Why does recognition surrounding Jimin create such a powerful reaction among millions of people? For years, Jimin has occupied a unique position within the global entertainment landscape. His career has developed far beyond the traditional boundaries of a K-pop idol. He has become known not only for his performances, but also for his distinctive artistic identity, emotional stage presence, dancing ability, fashion influence, and extraordinary connection with fans. That combination has made even the smallest moment involving Jimin capable of generating enormous attention. And when fans began describing the latest recognition as one of the most spectacular honors associated with him, the reaction was immediate. Social media discussions quickly filled with emotional messages. Some fans celebrated what they believed was a well-deserved acknowledgement of Jimin's impact. Others looked back at the countless performances, records, appearances, and memorable moments that helped establish him as one of the most recognizable figures in contemporary K-pop. For many armies, this was not simply about an award. It was about recognition. Recognition for years of hard work. Recognition for performances that left audiences speechless. Recognition for the countless hours spent rehearsing choreography. Recognition for the pressure of performing in front of enormous stadium audiences. And perhaps most importantly, recognition for the relationship Jimin has built with his fans. Jimin's appeal has always been difficult to describe with a single word. He can be incredibly powerful on stage, yet remarkably gentle when interacting with fans. He can deliver an explosive dance performance one moment, and then completely change the atmosphere with a quiet smile the next. That contrast has become one of the defining characteristics of his public image. It is also one reason why discussions about Jimin frequently extend beyond music. Fashion publications have followed his appearances. Entertainment audiences have analyzed his performances. Fans have celebrated his smallest gestures. And whenever he steps onto a major stage, expectations rise almost immediately. This is why the idea of a spectacular recognition connected to Jimin carries such emotional weight among his supporters. Imagine the atmosphere. Millions of fans around the world are watching their screens. Notifications begin appearing. Social media timelines suddenly fill with the same name. Photos circulate. Videos are reposted. Fans begin asking what happened. Then comes the realization that this is about Jimin. For longtime armies, moments like these can feel like the culmination of an entire journey. They remember the early years. They remember the performances that introduced audiences to his unique style. They remember the moments when his dancing became one of the most discussed aspects of BTS performances. They remember his solo projects and the way he continued developing his own artistic identity. And they remember how his relationship with fans remained an important part of that journey. That is why the emotional response can become much larger than the original announcement itself. An award, after all, is only an object. The meaning attached to it comes from the story behind the person receiving it. And Jimin's story is filled with moments that help explain why fans reacted so strongly. His journey was never simply about becoming famous. It was about becoming better. Again and again. Every new performance created another opportunity to show a different side of himself. Every major stage brought new expectations. Every comeback required him to prove that he could evolve rather than simply repeat what had worked before. That evolution is particularly important when discussing Jimin's individual career. As a member of BTS, he performed within one of the most successful groups in modern music history. But at the same time, he developed an identity that was distinctly his own. His vocal tone became recognizable. His dance style became recognizable. His expressions became recognizable. Even the way he communicates emotion through movement became something audiences could identify almost instantly. That is not easy to achieve. Thousands of performers around the world can dance. Thousands can sing. Thousands can perform under bright lights. But only a small number develop a presence that can be recognized within seconds. Jimin is one of those performers. That is why his fans often describe his stage presence as something difficult to quantify. Statistics can measure streams. Charts can measure rankings. Awards can measure achievements. But charisma is much harder to measure. The emotional response of an audience cannot always be reduced to a number. And perhaps that is why recognition surrounding Jimin can feel so meaningful. Fans are not simply celebrating a trophy. They are celebrating everything they believe that trophy represents. The rehearsals nobody saw. The exhaustion behind performances that looked effortless. The pressure of maintaining an extraordinary standard. The constant expectations surrounding a global superstar. And the courage required to continue growing in an industry where millions of eyes are always watching. There is another fascinating part of this story. Jimin has become increasingly associated with moments that extend beyond traditional music fandom. His influence has reached fashion, entertainment, social media, and global pop culture. When his name appears alongside major brands, important events, or high-profile appearances, fans immediately begin analyzing every detail. What is he wearing? What did he say? How did he perform? Who reacted? What happened backstage? These questions demonstrate how closely audiences follow his career. And that level of attention is itself a form of influence. A single photograph can become a global conversation. A short performance clip can generate millions of views. A small gesture toward fans can become an emotional story shared across platforms. This is the environment in which the latest award discussion emerged. Rather than being viewed in isolation, the recognition became part of a much larger narrative surrounding Jimin's career. For supporters, it represented another chapter in a story that has been developing for years. And that is where the phrase, "most spectacular award," begins to make sense from a fan perspective. It is not necessarily about the physical appearance of the award. It is about what fans believe it symbolizes. They see it as a celebration of impact. They see it as a celebration of perseverance. They see it as a celebration of artistry. And they see it as another reminder that Jimin's influence reaches far beyond a single performance or a single release. Of course, responsible reporting requires an important distinction. Excited fan discussions and social media descriptions should not automatically be treated as official confirmation of a new HYBE award. Unless an official announcement or reliable reporting confirms the exact award, its name, and the reason it was presented, those details should be described as fan reactions or discussion rather than established fact. That distinction does not make the story less interesting. In fact, it makes the story more fascinating. Because even without exaggeration, the central question remains. What is it about Jimin that makes millions of people react so passionately whenever his achievements are celebrated? The answer may be found in the relationship between performer and audience. Jimin has never appeared to treat the stage as simply a place where music happens. For him, performance has often been about communication. A movement can communicate confidence. A facial expression can communicate vulnerability. A vocal line can communicate emotion. A simple gesture can communicate gratitude. When these elements come together, the performance becomes something larger than choreography and music. It becomes storytelling. And storytelling is one reason audiences become emotionally attached to artists. People remember how a performance made them feel. They remember the moment they watched something and suddenly felt inspired. They remember the night they attended a concert and left feeling completely different. They remember the song that helped them through a difficult period. They remember the artist who made them smile when they needed it most. For many Jimin fans, those memories are inseparable from his career. That is why an announcement celebrating him can quickly become an emotional event for the fandom. It reminds fans of their own journey alongside his. Some discovered BTS years ago. Some discovered Jimin through a performance. Others encountered him through a solo release. Some may have become fans because of his personality. Others because of his dancing. Others because of his voice. And some simply saw one performance and thought, "Who is that?" Different paths. The same destination. Jimin. That diversity is one of the most remarkable aspects of his global fanbase. His appeal crosses languages and borders. People who may not speak Korean can still understand the emotion in his performances. People who have never attended a K-pop concert can still recognize the power of a major Jimin stage. And people who discovered him recently can quickly find themselves exploring years of performances and music. That is the power of a global artist. And it explains why discussions surrounding Jimin can spread so quickly. One fan posts a clip. Another translates it. Someone else edits it. Another person shares it on a different platform. Soon, thousands of people are discussing the same moment. Then millions. This digital chain reaction has become an important part of modern fandom. It also means that Jimin's achievements are rarely experienced by fans individually. They experience them together. One person celebrates. Another responds. Another adds a favorite memory. Another shares an old performance. Soon, a simple announcement becomes a collective celebration. That is exactly what makes this moment so interesting. Whether fans are celebrating an officially confirmed award or reacting to a description circulating online, the intensity of their response reveals something important. Jimin has created an emotional connection that extends beyond traditional measures of success. And that connection is arguably one of the most valuable achievements an artist can have. Because trends change. Charts change. Numbers rise and fall. But emotional loyalty can last for years. Jimin's career demonstrates that clearly. From his earliest BTS performances to his growth as a solo artist, his journey has been defined by continuous evolution. He has experimented with different sounds. He has explored different performance styles. He has presented different visual identities. And through all of those changes, one element has remained consistent: his ability to make people feel something. That may ultimately be the reason fans consider any recognition of his career so meaningful. They are not only looking at what he has accomplished, they are looking at what he has meant to them. And that is a much harder achievement to measure. As the online conversation continues, one thing is clear: Jimin remains a major force in global pop culture. Whether he is standing beneath the lights of a stadium, appearing at a fashion event, releasing music, interacting with fans, or simply sharing a quiet moment with ARMY, attention follows him. Not because every moment needs to become a headline, but because his audience genuinely wants to know what comes next. And perhaps that is the most spectacular recognition of all. Not a trophy, not a title, not even an announcement, but the fact that millions of people are still watching, still listening, still celebrating, and still waiting for the next chapter of Jimin's story. For an artist, there may be no greater sign that the journey continues. And if the latest celebration eventually becomes an officially confirmed honor from HYBE, fans will undoubtedly have another reason to look back at Jimin's extraordinary career with pride. Until then, the conversation itself tells us something powerful. Jimin does not simply appear in the headlines. He has become the reason people create them. And once again, the world is watching,